listen to this message. It's certainly for you. Came across this or scrolled through it. You're it.
Let's make it happen, Dana. That's right.
Future teacher, future leader, future coach, future community leader, future law enforcement, right? Common law.
That's right.
Back to basics. But again, if you're listening to this message, you're it. You trained your whole life for this. Let's make it happen. See you out there.
Hey.
Hey, sound check, by the way.
Very good.
Okay, good to go.
And let's just remind everyone, the last time we were live, I believe we got banned, right?
Oh, probably. It's been nothing but censorship on this platform, and it's sad to see some really, really excellent patriots, truthers, humanitarians have their voices stomped on. I know your page tracks a lot of that, and it gets noticed, at all levels. And we're at a point now where people see the censorship and they're starting to, when they see censorship, they will immediately relate that as to truth now. So, in some instances, it's doing us a favor, but in others, yeah, I mean, but like I say, at the end of the day, they're just trying to delay the inevitable. And things that you cover on your channel a lot, and other people cover a lot. It's seeping out in good ways. And with the most amazing piece about all this, it's a familiar recognition, it's a recognition that people have of this information that is resonating with something that they're remembering. I don't know where I'm remembering this from, but it's resonating with me, and I felt like I might have done this before, right? People are starting to get that feeling, and it's amazing. It's like watching conduits with lights just light up, because each of us share a frequency and share information that help catalyze the awakening. And when I say awakening, that's such a broad term, but let's talk specifics. It is the reactivation of dormant DNA. Well, we talked about control. Our DNA, our birthright, has been absolutely controlled and stifled, whatever you want to call it. But we're at a point now where things are just lighting up, and it's a cellular, it's a DNA remembrance, and it's an amazing thing to watch happening. So if I was an enemy of humanity too, I'd be scared shitless as well.
That's right.
So yeah, thanks for having me back, by the way. And
I'm going to do a little introduction of you. There's a lot of new followers since you were here last. So I will tell you guys, those of you who have never met Nick, what I've learned about him, I learned very quickly, is that he literally has a humanitarian heart. That's him through and through. And we are blessed that he is here to teach us something that is so practical, that is also inexpensive, and makes a humongous difference out there. And I don't know about you, but my whole life since I had my awakening, I have wondered what this world would be like if we were all awake and all actively doing this kind of humanitarian work that literally changes things. You and I have both seen it.
Great intro. I appreciate it. And people ask me all the time, what do I do? And I work for the same boss that a lot of you all do, right? We're moving by spirit, by God. We move at God's speed, and everything I've done for the last 7-8 years has been directly from my heart. And I've had a knack, and I think this is a buildup of my career, my professional career. I was a data analyst, recruiter, and I used to build executive teams for private equity companies in multiple industries, critical infrastructure, energy, all that stuff. So I got a good look at the systems in play currently, right, as it relates to how we function day to day. And I mean, it was very short into my career that I noticed something was incredibly off, and something has taken us so far from nature that here we are. We don't have to. And people always say, what kind of data do you have to support that? You look around. You simply look around. Most of our society in the last 100 years has been built to not cooperate with our environment, and that we're paying for it now. And one of the things I get most geeked out about and most excited about is harnessing our environment and working with it. I mean, it's a novel concept, right? But when we do that, when there's a collaboration from humanity and our environment, the magic happens, and it's no secret. And that's why we're lied to about the makeup of our environment, the makeup of ourselves. A lot of your audience knows we're electromagnetic. Our environment's also electromagnetic, right? And that's industry, society, everything is contrary to that because they don't want you to connect those dots and harness the environment to the benefit of not only yourself but everyone around you. And yeah, one of the things we're talking about now, or life force or orgone, we're simply unleashing and harnessing Earth's natural gifts that we should have been working with in the first place. Um, in the comments, real quick, who has dabbled in electroculture gardening? I'm curious to that because this ties directly into that.
Yeah.
Electroculture had an amazing year last year. I'd say for about 2 years. It's almost become commonplace in the gardening spheres, if you will. And
Right.
what that's done a number of things. It's validated the ether theory that was shared from Nikola Tesla von Braun on his deathbed. Um, these are things that are important. And when they're practically applied, simply by increasing the production of fruit and vegetable growth, increasing harvest without doing anything extra, except for harnessing the Earth's natural energy and creating electromagnetic fields to increase life force. At the end of the day, that's what had happened, and you're looking at natural fertilizer, folks. Electroculture does that. Uh,
Mm.
the Yeah, I mean there's a lot of different applications for that, but gardening I think is a perfect example because when you look back at the way things were done a long, long time ago, when all of Earth's natural electromagnetic grids were all activated and thriving, this was abundant. It wasn't sparse or sporadic. This is what tied the entire planet together from an energy structure standpoint. Um, and this has been validated over and over and over, either whether you're a follower of Nikola Tesla or the pyramids of ancient Egypt. And then many are coming to find out, wow, these pyramids are actually all over the planet, and they absolutely are. Um,
Yes.
it's all about harnessing Earth's natural energy for the benefit of humanity. There's it's not something new. I'm not here saying this is a brand new invention. I mean we are simply returning tools to humanity that have been long forgotten for a reason, and they've been censored, extremely hard. And part of that is because when you harness this life force energy, it's also called chi. It's called prana. Um,
That's right. Right.
there's a lot of different names for it. Doesn't matter what form of study you take this from. That's why you see it called different from different parts of the earth. But at the end of the day, it's the same thing. And it was wildly celebrated. It was utilized in agriculture. It was utilized in water filtration. It was utilized in health and regeneration at a cellular and DNA level. Okay,
Mhm.
so and all it again, it's just tapping into Earth's natural gifts that were intended for us. And I'm big on just looking into, where's our birthrights? Where have our birthrights been stepped on? And a lot of people, most recently, and I know I'm one of them. Why do they keep seemingly blocking out the sun? And they're not hiding these campaigns anymore. They're highly publicized. You can go and check them out. The formal term is atmospheric aerosol injection. This is one of hundreds of not just weather manipulation patents that are out there, but the atmospheric aerosol injection specifically targets our sun. And if you follow my channel and even Jesse L's channel, I mean, there's a lot of talk about um, why they specifically block the sun. I mean, the sun does a lot of things from an immunity standpoint. The light enters our eyes and so on and so forth. So there's just a massive coordinated effort, and this is, this is almost, it's like Antarctica. It's like the Antarctica Treaty. All the countries got involved and got on board this. That's why we don't see any one location really immune to these types of attacks on your human sovereignty, but they're happening, and it's directly tied to your overall health, your regeneration potential, all of that. That's why they keep the sun as blocked as they can. And the cool things about some of these tools and gifts that we should be utilizing more, like these Orgone energy accumulators. It's simply helping the Earth reestablish its once prominent energy grids. And folks, we are identical to the environment that we live within. It's not just our human DNA that's been suppressed, but Earth's natural energy, our grid lines, ley lines,
Influence.
whatever you want to call them. No, no discrimination on what you call them. A lot of Earth's grids are needing significant repair. And this is a very easy way to do it. Electroculture gardening mixed with orgone generation. First and foremost, if you've got orgone now and you have pucks or you build orgone, um, you should place that directly in the center of your garden or your planned garden, because it'll work with whether you're doing electroculture or not, it will increase the life force, the electromagnetism in that area, giving more and more life force to not only the soil, you're rebuilding the soil. And yeah, winter included, leave them out there because your soil is always alive. Your soil is living. And these simple tools, electroculture and orgone, turn dead soil back into living soil. And that has it has a profound impact. Even if you just have a hobby garden in your backyard and you're running electroculture and some orgone, that resonates further than you could imagine. Now, I'm not sure if you've ever seen mycelium or mushrooms, not just the fruiting body, but what's really interesting about mushrooms is their network of roots. I mean, for lack of a better term, I don't have the scientific term right at the top of my tongue, but mushrooms have the most extravagant root system, to where if if they're stimulated and they're getting this life force energy, the chi, we're returning it back to the earth, they expand, and that is really, it is the internet superhighway of Earth. I mean, that mycelium is connecting all the different plants, roots, everything, and we're learning more and more about our soils and how depleted they've become, and that's been intentional for the last 100 years. And our soil health, and this gets looked over a lot. Our soil health, it gets directly reflected in our environmental health. That includes our air that we breathe. The ionosphere depends on healthy soil. Okay, so this is an occult term. I don't like the word occult because it simply means hidden. As above, so below. It's when you're repairing the soil down below, you're also repairing the ionosphere above. And that kind of leads me into my next. It leads me into this tool that we're going to be talking about. The orgone, when placed on the ground, it's like a hyper regenerator of certainly the topsoils and the life force on the ground. And you can imagine what that does, as it relates to the ionosphere. Um, uh, all of this being connected, we know through the works of Tesla and through the interconnection of pyramids, and what we're misled a lot about is the infrastructure beneath the pyramid specifically. A lot of that has to do with them being placed over ley lines and water structures, and that's significant because water carries information, water carries frequency, and that's huge. And again, we look back. I spent a lot of times where we've really abused Earth in the last 100 years, because if you reverse engineer all of those systems in play now, you'll get to the root cause, and then we can start fielding solutions. And every solution I try to field or talk about is always something somebody can do, themselves. They don't need an expert or and my goal there is to promote the not only the research but the personal involvement in this stuff, because hey, these natural tools we're using, just like natural tools for health, natural remedies, holistic herbal remedies, they don't work just on one plane. They work multidimensionally, and that's important, because some of these campaigns that we get targeted with our environment, they're not just in one dimension. So just like our body, we need to heal. We need to use multidimensional tools to heal. We have to do the same with Earth. And this is one of many, but this is a tool that can be used pretty quickly and applied, overnight, really. And you see some significant impacts. Where
Yes.
do you want me to start? I mean, as far as application, I've
Yeah. I definitely think what I love is that you are like actively out there doing, and I've told you that before, and practically, and when you showed me the pictures of what you were doing, it just came to mind what I've been doing for years. I buy packs of these, like you actually shared a photo. I haven't showed your photos yet, but I get them on Amazon for like eight of them, and then I spread them out, or I give them to all my adult kids, or I place them around their homes, at parks, at schools, around areas like that near the hospital. And I just leave them wherever. I want to give them a practical way to actively start making a difference, because I get asked often, what are we going to do about the lines in the sky? I can't say the word, you guys. But you guys know, you ask me this all the time. Well, this is what we do. This is exactly where we can start. This is practical. It's inexpensive. I think it's $26 for a pack of these on Amazon. And so sharing the practical ways that they can get involved in this.
absolutely. Yeah, the lines in the sky, right? That's a big one.
Mhm.
It's not just a physical weapon against us, it's a psychological weapon, and that's the blocking of the sun. You wake up and you see a clear sky, and then the minute you turn around, zoom, 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 and then 30 minutes later, you went from mostly sunny to mostly cloudy. And it feels good to have recourse. It really does, and it feels good to nullify these multi-billion-dollar programs that have been compartmentalized in black projects, and um, it does feel good, and hopefully, that message gets sent loud and clear that you know, it's game over there. Let's shift our attention and funds, no matter what. Let's get it disclosed. Let's cut these programs off, and let's start steering the funding to rightful projects. There's some great humanitarian projects out there right now, right? They're underfunded. Yeah, so I started playing with this stuff several years ago, but yeah, the pucks that you're showing there, those are great, and there's additional ways to bolster these. I'm hoping we can get some of the technical data out to people that are interested. I'll certainly make follow-up posts with those available. But these cloud busters, and you can go search it. Willem Reich was the first notable that was using them on mass, large scale, and he was not targeting the lines in the sky, so to speak. He was targeting the naturally made clouds and all of that. That's how most of his experiments were formed. So, I didn't follow a ton of guidance. I just knew there was a lot of people out there that were experimenting with this, and it all started around electroculture and in their gardening. And same with me. I had an amazing garden that I had established in Kansas this past year, and Kansas is heavily targeted with these programs for a number of reasons. Our massive ag infrastructure, the more poisons they can put on our food that we eat, they're going to do that, and that's why a lot of those areas get contaminated. But I noticed once I had my electroculture grid set up and I ran the O right in the middle of the garden, on days that I would campaign heavily with lines in the sky, there would be a perfect patch of blue immediately above me. And I kept playing with that. I'd add things like quartz crystal. I'd add precious metals, gold and silver. I'm a big silver guy. Silver's the best conductor. Map behind me, a lot of people say it doesn't exist, but Tartarian infrastructure, Tartarian buildings were built with this in mind as well. They were harnessing the
Taking
Earth's.
colloidal silver, putting colloidal silver in our bodies.
There you go, all connected, all connected. And this gets into the mercury domes of these Tartarian buildings as well. Mercury, a lot of people don't know. I mean, it's essentially liquid silver, and it's an incredible conductor. Um, But when people start to understand that there have been entire societies, highly advanced societies, built around the Earth's natural technologies, the script flips, folks. Okay, and awareness is the first part of a script or table flipping. Your individual awareness that there might be a potential, or that, huh, things aren't the way they are. That's when doors start opening, and that's when the universe as well, and we all start connecting. But um, just just delving down some of these interesting research topics that show us that we're not reinventing anything. We're getting back to basics, back to common sense, and um, anyways, so a lot of this stuff has been validated for thousands of years in some cases, and it's just a reintroduction. And again, I want to be able to give people a very practical way to apply this. It does need to be done responsibly.
We have people ordering right now. These are on Amazon, you guys. So a couple of you said you're in the process of ordering right now. This is how we have to work together, you guys. There's so much power when we all connect. We are very powerful. We have forgotten that, and we're learning. We have to take our power back, step into that, and we're going to teach you how.
Yeah, absolutely. So
Thanks,
things
Michelle.
I
Here.
things I do with these devices, not just from a gardening standpoint, but we'll get really heavy spray days. I spend time in Colorado and Kansas, Nebraska, Oklahoma, so a lot of open skies. And I will travel with these a lot, and they're effective in. I'm gonna back up a minute. They travel with these. They're easy to deploy, and they can be applied to just about anything. I keep them in my car all the time because you think
I
about
keep
your
one in my
car.
purse. In your purse.
There you
Keep it.
go.
Now I'm going to put some silver on it. I have some silver dollars. Really
There
active.
you, there you go. In your car, it's like a really enclosed environment, and I love them because, and I notice it with my kids too. If they, if their, behavior is wonky or whatever, we go for a car ride, and it
Yeah.
just seems to I mean, it's regenerating, it's calming, and again, these things are very easy. I mean, I don't leave home without one. One generally stays in my truck all the time. Another thing that I've done over the years, I have built grids in my home with these that block harmful EMFs from your Gwyn towers, your router. Um, if you have a router that's constantly on, I would set one of these directly by it, especially if you leave it on at night. It will reduce the negative EMFs that get to you that's around. Okay, and it's
Very good.
um, and in addition to that, we talked about the multi-dimensional aspect of these things, but it will help secure your internet privacy as well. Don't
Mhm.
ask me how, but it will. There's a number of things you can do with these, but home protection
I need more.
is a good one,
I need to go more.
especially if you live by these towers. I mean, I live in a fairly rural area, but there's still a tower within a mile, and I know some people that live in highly, densely populated areas. There's one on every corner.
Yep.
Um, and in a lot of cases, they've concealed these towers now. You know what I mean? So they're especially in large cities. So if you're in one of those environments, really easy to build a quick grid out of these, and you'll watch the environment in your home change.
Mhm.
From being able to regenerate faster, recover from workouts, recover from illness, improve immunity, improve cell function, everything. That's what they do. They harness life force energy. Okay, we are life force. Earth has life force, right? And when you're promoting life force like these devices do, it's a win-win for everybody. So
I'm trying to figure out what is like, I know you said it's life force, but what is it made out of? What is this?
yep.
I,
So there's organic and inorganic material. When I say inorganic, there's metals that aren't organic. They've aluminum, and a lot of them are made from different components. There's a particular brand that I like to use. This guy he's out of Arizona, so he'll mix in quartz from that area. And this is where I encourage you to do your research, because a lot of these are made with the same materials, but from different parts of the country, which are important. Um, because if you use materials that are native to your area, you're going to have better success. quartz crystal shavings, metal shavings,
It's some
copper.
crystal, guys. This goes in my water cup. It'll stay out at night for the moon if there is no clouds, and then I'll leave it in the morning sun, and then it goes in my water, and it's ready to go.
There you go. There you go. Yeah, these can be used for that. Throw them in your bathtub, before you're taking a detox bath. I always have a massive pitcher of water. I've got a small piece of orgone and shungite in there at all times. Living water is important, but this again, you're taking dead water from the faucet, right? Even if you're filtering it, adding minerals back, that's all great, but take it another level, all right? Um, I mean, there are U.S. Army videos from the 40s that all they're talking about is crystals, the piezoelectric qualities, and the validation that crystals are living things. They interact, they have a consciousness, right? And they can be programmed by us. Okay, you can work with them.
And I
Um,
love that. I love that you shared that. And somebody on here, they were mentioning that they talk to their water, that they speak life into their water. And we do need to start practicing that. And so after I read that, I started talking to my crystal. So I'm going to start practicing that. Never
Absolutely. I mean, you
forget.
laugh at it or not, but the universe and the earth
We're
is
all connected.
yesterday was a good example of that. We had just a small window between cold fronts here and snow, and that was yesterday and part of today. And anytime there's a window of natural sunlight, you'll see the campaigns, you'll see the jets spool up, and you'll start seeing the lines in the sky. And I was in the middle of errands, and I just got back from training, and I picked a random park I had spent time in before. I spent a lot of time meditating there. It's on a ley line, and I would promote to anyone listening, find the ley lines in your area and start working with them. Okay, they'll remember you. That's how we reactivate them. Just like our dormant DNA, we have to activate, and a lot of our activations come from other people.
Hmm. Yeah,
Some of it
I've
comes from us, but
experienced it recently.
and it's the same with Earth. We have to reactivate her. Okay,
Yeah,
and you say it's woo woo or I
it's
mean,
not.
out there, it's not because look at all the campaigns that validate exactly what we're doing, that have suppressed Earth's natural ability. So these are things that, they have big local impacts. Yeah, I mean, it's something to watch an entire cloud full of chemicals and aerosol and heavy metals. You go from completely cloudy to, creating as far as the eye can see, blue in the sky in less than an hour. And, know that you had an impact with not only, introducing that, but supporting what Earth wants to do anyways.
You
And
want me to show
what's,
Do you want me to show them that video of you the other day doing that?
yeah, you can,
Okay.
absolutely. You can, and
Okay.
this was
Yeah,
yesterday.
I'm going to show you guys him doing this. He did share it, so you can go back to his TikTok and reference it. But this is really cool. And yeah, I think we need to be videoing what we're doing, our work. Let's just stay in my box and in front of me. There we go.
Keep sending them. Keep busting them. The skies are free and sovereign as well. Take that shit on out of here.
Excuse my language, by the way.
Well,
Just check the progress about 10 minutes later. Oh yeah, pushed her way out. Look at that. Look at that. Interconnecting grids of Orgone accumulators. We'll put the chemtrails to bed. As if we didn't have legal recourse, but they want us to keep sending them. So we'll keep knocking them down. Thanks for playing.
so you guys,
The last thing I wanted to say to
oh,
y'all, the amount of money spending on these compartmentalized black projects, you could be spending on humanitarian projects. It's not going to look good, folks. Right?
So yeah, we cleared a lot of that out.
I'm recording more and more of my progress out there. So record it and share it with your friends so they see that what's happening. I know, it's beautiful, right?
It's
Incredible.
and it's something everybody can do. It's not. I don't have something that none, everyone else doesn't have. Your birthright is to be connected to the earth and be able to harness its gifts, and this is one easy way to do it. I want to talk about these campaigns real quick. If you follow my page, you probably see me discuss a lot of certain areas in our country and our world that are heavily suppressed for reasons. And it's no coincidence that's where you'll find these programs, the Lines in the Sky program. You'll find them most active, and here's why. Um, the resonant frequency in that area has to be at a certain level for those lines in the sky to have an impact. Okay, so East Coast, I know it's notorious for this. Boston, Ohio, right? We need these everywhere because they will cherry pick these areas that are highly suppressed from an energetic value standpoint. They'll
Thanks,
just
Brand.
they'll just dump,
I
dump
need
and
to
dump and dump.
bring some to Pennsylvania when I go in a couple weeks. I need to bring some with me. Yeah.
And the amazing thing about tools like this is you can enter an area. I spent a lot of time in parts of Kansas where there's massive manipulation of our energy grid through the animal slaughterhouses. They slaughter up to 20,000 animals a day on very, very important grid lines. And we have been able to counter that with these tools. And when you raise and you help Earth activate these grid lines and raise her resonant frequency,
Yeah.
these lines in the sky simply cannot exist. And I mentioned about the multidimensionality of some of these, and
Great
you know,
stuff.
I, I'm just going to say it. These programs, yeah, they're on this plane, this dimension as well. But some of these programs are not from this dimension. However, just like an herbal remedy helps our body fight off multidimensional attacks, right? Illness, disease
That's
comes
right.
from
I just
spirit.
actually finished an indigenous herbal course, and almost every herb that they taught, the first thing they said is expels darkness on every one of the herbs. The first thing, and I have never heard that from an herbal course that I've taken that was done in the US.
Again, you reverse engineer society's stance on all this today, and you'll find the root cause as to why they did it, and that's a big one. And again, why we're kept in the darkness about the true nature of our environment. And these kinds of tools, while they might seem, how is that going to change? I mean, just
You can find Nick under Cultivate Independence, and it's on the bottom. If you can see the name right on the bottom of his photo, that's it. That's all you have to do is click on that, and you'll find him.
yeah, the old account got knocked off, but this is where I'm hanging out for now. Okay, so folks in these heavily targeted areas, you're waking up every day, and a lot of people, look, that live in these big cities have just written this off as normal. That's normal weather now. It's not, and we can reverse it, and I talked a little bit about that. Um, Enhancement of these tools, and let's get into essential oils. Jazziel, essential oils, why are they so effective?
High
They have
frequency,
an amazing frequency, right?
amazing high frequency, more than most things.
Okay,
Yeah.
so think about integrating essential oils with your orgone tools, that too. And a way to ward that off, get your essential oil. I think my favorite that I've been using has been oregano. You can use wormwood. You can use peppermint. Oregano has been highly effective, but
Those are all anti-parasitic, all of them.
bingo. And they're not going to say that, but
Yeah, you get
that
parasites are feeding off the energy, and that's interdimensionally and internally.
yep.
Yeah.
So to increase the potency of the
Mhm.
tool itself, you just introduce, just like you would your body, to increase your potency on regeneration and healing, right? You introduce a natural herb. Same thing, same thing, and that's the beauty of it. These are all tools that were made from Earth. It's we're not making these out of a lab. And um, biggest thing is we're working with Earth again. We got into all this trouble from working against it. And
Yeah.
all of this is going to be significant, and we can all help it turn around. I mean, ideally, what happens is, right, we detox all of our soils overnight, and the Earth's grid will slowly start to come online. But we're at a point where she needs some additional help, just like our friends and family that are struggling, or um, you know people are coming along, but they need additional support. I mean, that's all we're doing. We're helping one another, and this all gets into a lot of different things. But um, if we can slowly start activating these earth grids,
Mhm.
you won't have to sit out there with these things anymore. There are parts of the planet now. I don't know too many of them in the country, but there are parts now that no matter how much they tried to spray the lines in the sky, it wouldn't be effective because that grid is activated, or there's such a high frequency there that anything below that is just
That's why
not going to happen.
that's amazing because it was God who literally put it on my heart and spirit to teach about frequency. We got to raise our frequency, and I just keep feeling that. And so we need to spread this truth. This needs to be something we really work on, you guys. Raising your own frequency, helping your family to raise their frequencies. Wow, because just raising our frequency in our country is going to make a difference, and it's happening.
Absolutely. And when I say work with the grid lines and ley lines, the ley lines span the plane, and this is why pyramids were built on ley lines. You see it now in these massive cathedrals, right?
Yes.
There, if you look at them, and you, especially in Europe, look at them, line them up. You can take a ruler and line these cathedrals up on a line. So if you're say I'm in Colorado and I'm working the Arkansas River line, and that I think, oh, that's just going to impact my local area. No, you're gonna send ripples up and down that grid line as far as it spans. It spans the entire planet. So
Okay, so we
you're
teach us how to find those grid lines because I know you sent me
yeah.
before like a map, but I still couldn't figure it out. I think there is some running through Yosemite, but I couldn't quite figure out how to do it. So maybe you can teach us that.
Yeah, and they're hidden too. I mean, they try to hide them. But you look at again, I look at where they build their infrastructure. They're not dumb. They build them on ley lines. So that's
Mhm.
how I identify ley lines in my area because they would establish their infrastructure, and I call it their infrastructure because it is. It was in no way, endorsed by humanity what's been done, but the perfect example is these processing facilities. They're all on ley lines, whether they
Mhm.
they didn't spend $1 billion on a new plant, and pick a random
Do you
address.
guys understand what that means? I mean,
Mm-mm.
it's disturbing to say the least because they're slaughtering animals on a ley line to have the largest negative effect. That negative energy spreads, and that is what they've been up to. Amongst, I mean, nothing surprises me anymore.
You're putting a synthetic form of energy production that disturbs natural grids too. So look at where they've built power plants as well. And please do some research on your own. This stuff is not just helpful, but it's fascinating, and it'll tell a story as well, whether your local area or not. But just research ley lines, grid lines. And the practical application of this, they can lie and deny all they want, but there's still well witchers that use their rods to identify these ley lines, and primarily through water channels. Another reason why ley lines are hidden is because they expose the vast quantity of water that sits beneath our feet.
I know that's another amazing topic.
We don't have to get into that tonight, but
Gosh.
it's a big mission of mine, because the second most manipulated natural resource on our planet is water. The first is energy, and both energy and water are naturally regenerating here. We are never, nor will we ever be at risk of running out. It's just a misappropriation of resources we've
That is a
given.
fact. We have dug up enough information and proof to reveal that.
Yep.
Yeah, that's for another life for sure.
Totally. But grid lines, ley lines, you'll see some fascinating things there, but they all coincide with waterways, ancient waterways, aqueducts. Tesla's Wardenclyffe Tower was built upon an aqueduct water feature, and it's the same reason they build their plants, their processing plants, on top of these, because water again is a carrier of information and energy. Crystal is a store of information. That's another reason why it's it's necessary to, when you introduce a tool like an Orgone puck, it's full of quartz, and that quartz carries information, stores information that Earth's grid will naturally recognize, and they'll say, "Ooh, somebody's trying to work with me in a beneficial way." And I'm not sure if you've covered this at all with grounding specifically, and this might sound over the top, but I promise you it's not. If you ground in the same place over and over and over again, the Earth remembers you. The Earth sends you exactly what you need from an energetic standpoint.
Okay, love that. Everybody here grounds. We talk about it all the time, but that part I didn't know.
You're remembered, and you'll get delivered exactly what you need. And the more you ground, the more available energy there's going to be. You start grounding at a
I got
park,
chills too. I know that's powerful, right, Misty?
you get you ground in the same area. I like to do it at parks a lot. You'll see participation at parks increase. You'll see overall happiness increase. Um,
Oh, I'm so
call
excited
it
to try. I have a part
it's
right around the
Yeah, and when somebody sees you with their, with your shoes off out there, the information on grounding is out there.
corner.
So be the catalyst, be that person out there 45 degrees with your shoes off at the park with a big ass smile on your face, because you are going to encourage the next person to do it. And uh, you will, it just happens. And then before long, you'll see just kids and fields of people chilling with their shoes off, so don't be afraid to be the catalyst. If you're on this live, you're a natural catalyst, and
Good
it's time
fairy.
to step into that.
Yes. She said that was her the other day. That's great. Yeah. We're not too strange anymore, right? We're not the weirdos anymore, I hope. I think things are changing pretty quickly.
Yeah, and it's good to be weird. That weirdness shows your authenticity, and what most
True.
people what most people don't realize is they're usually promoting or displaying some form of programming. So if you're in your authentic weird self as God intended, that's what we need to be. We're all a
It's
different
true.
aspect of source,
And
and
authenticity is, I believe, one of the highest frequencies, you guys.
yep,
So we got to be real.
absolutely. So I want to talk about just Earth again, and why they, especially the plane that we're focused on right now, and why it needs the most repair. The plane we're on right now, I'm not getting into technicality. I don't want to confuse anybody. No, there's no need to, but look at Earth. It's an anagram of heart. The heart here has been attacked just like the human heart. You think about the campaigns the last several years, heart disease being the number one killer in the US. This is all post 1940s. That's when our diets changed. But again, everything in society was designed to press the heart. And if you study the chakra system in the body, you'll know the heart chakra is the strongest. And when the heart chakra is activated, it's an amplifier for the rest of the system. So, as I mentioned, and we know now, we're part of our environment. Earth is in the same predicament. We have to reactivate, we have to heal, we have to activate that heart chakra of Earth. Because once that happens, all of these systems, these latent systems, are going to turn on, just like activating your pineal gland, or um, it's the same thing. And that's when you'll have just a natural revolution that is based in authenticity from Earth, with humanity, and it's going to be a collective orchestra.
That's
And
right. That's right.
that's life.
Yeah.
That's
Somebody just said we need to soften our hearts and raise the frequency. Exactly. Yeah. And
Yep,
that's why they work so hard on
absolutely.
fighting fear and division to keep that from happening.
It is, and my perspective since getting into this fight, so to speak, even 7 years ago, and I have a military background, and I won't get into other timelines and just my lineage, but we've been embroiled in conflict as humans unnaturally for a very long time, and that's to keep us in that reptilian part of our brain. It's a very small, it's the fight flight survival piece of the brain, and if you watch The Matrix, or yeah, you hear about Neo, right? He said, "Wake up, Neo, wake up, Neo," and they're telling you activate your neocortex. And that's the big part of your brain. That's when your left and right hemispheres of your brain are working in unison with your heart. And that can all be uh, reignited with all the things you're teaching, all the things a lot of people are teaching about healing and activating our latent system. So everything we're talking about today, even if you're just focused on yourself right now, healing yourself, you healing yourself is healing the earth. It's healing your neighbor
Yes.
because
Love when
you
you
may
share.
not know it, but your resonant frequency is just hammering these people that you live by in a good way. They don't even know it, but their frequency has been raised because you live next to them. And back to this Orgone and Electroculture, the folks that are doing it now will tell you the increase in wildlife, the right wildlife, not the pests, is tenfold. I mean, you'll see when I set up a grid near me, you'll start to see birds. They'll start to notice it, and they'll just, they'll kind
Mhm.
of make themselves at home. In the garden, you're reintroducing the right critters that you want. You're reestablishing the natural population, right? That's been dominated by pests. And the reason we have pests is because the
Yes, yes.
frequency was as such. It's just like when we introduce pests into our body, it's because our frequency dropped. And it's the same thing with gardening. And I go toe to toe every day with the big agrichem companies and fertilizer makers because it's all non-essential. You don't need fertilizer, especially petrochemical based fertilizers, um, because all you simply need to do is harness the Earth's energy that naturally promotes, again, the life force, and it touches everything.
Right.
Um,
Or save your urine and go put it in your garden.
yeah, yep. Um, I
And, and
mean,
and thank you also for that comment, Intel lady. I just wanted to acknowledge you that you shared that birds don't fly away from you anymore because you're raising your frequency. My son used to play worship music in the backyard, and I kept noticing the chair was covered in bird poop. And I would go out every day, and I'm like, only on this one chair. Well, my son was out there. He's a worship pastor, so he would be out there. This was his teenage years. He started playing when he was like 16, and he would be out there every day. He was homeschooled, so he had a lot of time to go out there. And this chair would be covered with poop, and it was because he was drawing the birds. The frequency was drawing the birds. The music, very high frequency.
yep. While you're on the music topic, music, just like essential oils, will enhance the tool that you're using. Use the right frequency. I mean, you could even play with it. You'll create clouds with low frequency energy.
Wow,
That
Heather, I will go check it out. That's amazing. Birds fly into her house.
that's awesome. That's awesome. That's indicative of a very, very natural, healthy environment. Everything we talked about so far is promoting that. Um,
Dan, good to see you. Thanks for joining.
Yeah, and in playing music with these, I do it often. The car is my favorite time. You make sure you're listening to music that's tuned, soulful geofrequencies, and
That's why I drive alone so that I can listen to music.
if you don't know, and keep it simple, if the number doesn't add up to a multiple of three, it's not natural. So if you see it on YouTube or something, and you gotta be careful. So just make sure you can verify the source of the music. But yeah, when you can enhance these tools with music incredibly, and you start doing that, I mean, you'll get some return red-tailed hawks, you get bald eagle. I mean, it
Oh
is
yeah.
it is incredible.
So
Um,
when you say be careful with the music, will you kind of just go into that a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, like everything good, there's been a saboteur effect, right? We still have people in the shadows that seemingly want to blend in and promote something that says, hey, this is a natural soulful geofrequency. Listen to me. And um,
I,
what I'm saying is there's established channels on any whatever music platform you have. Just make sure you're going through a reputable channel that has been certified to promote those frequencies, or you can verify the frequency. There's tools to verify the frequency. I know not everybody has them, but just verify the legitimacy of the source of these because there are people trying to put out bad frequency in music. We see it all the time. Look at mainstream music. You see, I mean, these Taylor Swift concerts. I'm not even getting into the satanic aspect of a lot of these mainstream artists, but their concerts are broadcasted in typically 440, which create the chaotic. And you've seen some events, and I'm not going to get into the one that I think it was Houston Astro World a while back, but that was direct attack through
It
frequency
was.
manipulation through sound. The
Yeah.
media didn't touch it, but that's exactly what
Probably
it
did.
was.
Testing it in some of these areas and probably
Ex
have for a long time.
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Singing and dancing
Um,
for sure. I do it every day.
yep.
The
Yep.
best.
Um, trying to think what else can we cover on this. There's so many applications for it.
Well,
Um,
I'm glad you brought up the 440. How much of our
yeah.
music do you think is not 440 though? I mean, not very much, right? Wouldn't you say 90%
For
of it's 440?
Yeah, I would say unless there, I like to think this that, there's been a change, a quiet change, and I know we'll get there at some point, but
Well, and
um,
that's what I talk to them a lot about is that, if you have an interest in music, I would be moving in that direction of helping artists convert their music to 432
yep,
hertz. I know
exactly.
there are some that are doing that right now actively, either recreating music in the 432, or I don't know if there's a way to convert it over, or do you have to completely recreate it? I'm not sure.
There's an abundance of frequency apps now that are doing this, and that's why you're seeing more of it available. 432, 528 playlists. Even YouTube has some really good playlists now, and then even some artists. I'm not going to mention specific names, but some very popular artists are promoting 432, 528 at their concerts, and I think that's amazing.
And those are the
If you,
artists support, you guys. We need to pay attention to that.
Yeah, exactly. If you're going to manipulate, and manipulation is, that's usually co-signed, in a negative way. If you're artists promoting a natural frequency through speakers, um, you're not going to be able to see it, but I have a massive speaker right here, and I have a Orgone puck that was tuned to 528 on the front of it, and that
Hmm.
does something to the music, no matter what kind of frequency I'm getting in.
Okay.
The outer aspect of it heals it, if you will. And
Oh,
there's, and I haven't dabbled with this yet. I'd like to get to a point where I'd love to see a company start making, the face plates of the speakers. Well, first of
right.
all, if you look at a speaker, um, just a normal speaker with a magnet at the end, and you've got your plate up front, match that up to some of these cathedral windows. I mean, they look a lot the same, but what's been taken off of the speaker, right? They don't have and this is cymatics. If you want to look into this stuff, it's
Right.
it's
Actually,
cym.
someone asked if we know anything about somatics.
Oh
So,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So cymatic speakers, they're coming. You know what I mean? For personal use, to where your speaker is just going to be just like a mini cathode, from a healing standpoint, similar to what bells have done. And I think you'll see a return of bells. Um,
Yes. Somebody
bells
needs to
were
start
used.
building a bell company. Lots of
Yep.
opportunities, you guys. We talk about all the opportunities often here. I want people to, a lot of people they want to find out what kind of businesses are in the future, and we need to start.
Yeah, anything that's promoting promoting the harnessing, promoting the natural frequency, and to the benefit of humanity and our environment. That's all a winner. I mean, there's so much that we're missing, and one of the things I'm most excited about is the reinvigoration of our agriculture systems, and I say that because it ties into these cathedrals, and the aqueducts, and then not only were the water sources built around these, um, they were intentionally built around the water sources for the population and the for agriculture use. So what was happening is you're getting tuned water, natural frequency, healing frequency water being transmitted all the way downstream into the population's homes, and then into the fields. So um, it's not it's not hard to fathom why, our fruit and vegetable nutrient density was 100, 200, 300 times more than it is today, because it was being grown in living soil, and it was being grown with living water, and it was being grown unabated by any unnatural, influence.
That's
And
right.
that's why fruits were so prominent. You read books. The Book of Anastasia is an amazing book. It talks about selective seeding, to where you soak seeds in your saliva before planting, and there's that DNA recognition and activation, to where the seed, the plant that you actually grow that you soaked in your saliva will produce fruit specifically for your
It's
deficiencies.
bioidentical, you guys, and our animals, you watch them, they urinate at the same place all the time. And then the following year, that grass will grow and be bioidentical to them, to their needs.
Yep. I mean, there's so much, and it's none of this is new. It's simply uncovering the past and the society we had that they ignore, and that's why our history has been so manipulated. That's why they lie about the nature of our environment, the nature of us. Because if you look at it and you quit fighting nature, we live in a very high tech world, and it's all about just unleashing this. I know it's going to come over time, and
Mm.
the first step is awareness. So thanks everybody that's listening, and thanks to you. The more we can get this out to, the faster it'll happen. And
I
I
want to
say
show
there's a
them. I want to show them some of the stuff that
cool.
you sent me that is a practical way for you guys to like start making the changes tomorrow. I don't know if you guys can see this, and I'll try to pull it up close. But that's just a 5-gallon bucket that you can get at Lowe's. And then explain what the base is. I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go to
Yeah, the base is
that. There's the base.
epoxy. Yep, the base is epoxy, and mixed in is the metal shavings, quartz, and then people customize, but the main thing is to make sure you have quartz, the proper metal shavings, and I mean those are massive. I don't have anything that big, but that is a buster. That's a big one. These are a little more practical. They're typically called desktops. They're desktop busters. These are ones you can travel with pretty quickly, deploy them pretty quickly, and that's a great garden application right there.
I don't know if you
Um,
can see it, but there's a crystal on the very top. There
yep.
it is. Okay.
Yeah, the quartz is always going to enhance the
Base of
yeah.
it. That's pretty
And
loud.
there's and
That's all that copper. Wow. Okay, there's of course the pucks that we've been talking about, and a lot of you have ordered them now. I've been following your messages. That's great, you guys. That's exciting. That's what we have to do. Spread them out. Yeah.
so I mean that's one way to get in the. I will take copper, just standard, probably like 16 to 20 gauge copper wire, and I'll marry them together, and I'll make a copper coil, and it'll have the quartz sticking up. I don't know, 2 or 3 inches on top, but if you leave just the tip of the quartz sticking out,
Is that
um,
there, or is that the top of the copper one that you did?
yeah, no, so that's just a large puck that I took to the park. Um,
Okay.
yeah, so that's just sitting on top of the ground, but they perform incredibly well the minute they touch the ground, just like we do. They're plugged in, if you will,
Yes,
right? And
definitely
yeah,
want to take them with you in your car. Drive
they,
around. You'll be making an impact by driving
yep,
around in your car. Yes.
exactly
A
right. And
massive impact, not just a, yeah, you guys, it's amazing. It just sit outside with one on and watch the clouds move. They will
yep,
dissipate. That's all you have to do.
and yeah, however you meditate or pray or whatever you do, make them a part of it. They're on this journey with you. Once you're gifted them, once you inherit them, however you get them, make them yours. Make them you're not going to feed and water them, but talk to them just like you would your plants. And that
Speaking
relationship
about
is
them,
expensive.
sorry, speaking about them being alive, I sent you that video today, but a lot of people have been sending me other videos of the crystals that are coming up in the ground. And then Dano said tonight earlier, he said the crystals are trying to come to the light. So that was amazing. And I'm thinking about all this darkness, how everything's been suppressed, including us, right? We're all connected.
Mhm.
And so could this be happening because we're all brighter. The light is entering as we get out of darkness, as we heal. And the crystal's just gonna start coming up all over the place. Oh, that just gives
I
me
mean,
chills. So
I,
now,
I hope I hope we get to see, how we've raised the resonant frequency of Earth over time. I think hopefully somebody's putting that together that we can look how far we've come. But
Shelly,
we're going to see things that, and
yeah,
that's why it's had to be done in perfect timing because too soon. I mean,
yeah,
it's got to be a slow workup, and we have to be physically, mentally, spiritually aligned for all this to happen. And yeah, there are your instances of individuals that do this before, and that's for a reason too. But the collective right now is becoming
Yes,
more and more in
things
unison. The
are
more
in
in
line.
unison we come, it's just the faster this is going to happen, and the more impactful. And all signs, just you mentioned it, and just animal behavior, just the increase in weather manipulation. Folks, let's look at the weather in the country the last 2 weeks. That's not on accident. That is the door hitting them on the ass, trying to get you to break here, right at crunch time. And um, I know we've had to pull folks across the line, and but that's what it's all about. We have to encourage everybody to stay in the fight, and it all starts with your perception and your intentions every day. Um, wake up, get out there, get ready to tackle it. Don't think of all the doom and gloom, and
Oh yeah, I can't
I
focus on
know.
fear or do I get videos sent to me every day, lots and lots, and 90% of them are fear, and I have to weed through it all. And then I have to plan a message to help everybody to get out of that fear. Ah,
Yeah, and people, I mean, more and
it's
more they're
spiritual
realizing
hell
that.
going after us because they know the scales are coming off. They know the light is entering in. And so the battle's going to intensify, you guys. I literally have my Bible on my bed and I'm reading Ephesians 6 morning and night. We've been talking about that. Cynthia and I have been talking about that. A lot of you who I've been having phone conversations with, I've been warning you and preparing you for right now. It will,
Absolutely.
yeah.
And it just all starts with mindset. And folks here, they've done a good job healing themselves physically, and that's a transformation that you often don't see, but that transcends into your spirit and everything. That's so important right now.
Wow. Well, if anybody has
Right.
questions for him, do you have time for just 5 minutes? If there's any question,
Yeah, of course. I know people were asking good
gone
resources
over an
for to
hour.
buy the pucks. Yeah, it's all
Thank
good.
you, Joy, you're amazing too, and thank you for being here.
Yeah, thank you very much. So the Orgone pucks that I've built a lot of my own, but I've also procured them as well, and I love supporting small businesses that are doing this. There's a gentleman out of Arizona. He goes by Organite Andy. He has fairly reasonable prices. I love that when he produces them, he's in a soulful geofrequency. So when he's making these, actually, he's harmonizing them with soulful geofrequencies, and that's big. So
Is that his website?
yeah, or it'll get you there. I'm pretty sure it's organiteandy.com. If not, Google search it, it'll take you there. He is amazing. The customer service that you get there is incredible, and he does a good job at detailing kind of the whys behind this too. So that's one that I've purchased. I purchased a buster from, it was just I think an independent, but she was making them out of Ohio, and one of the busters that she got me, that's with the big copper towers on top.
Mhm.
I mean, it's incredible. You can carry it into a room and just watch the frequency change.
Wow.
But people are making these right now, and if you want to support independence, they're all over the place. I like eBay. Call me old school, whatever. A lot of you probably don't know eBay exists, but eBay, there's a lot of sellers of these and creators of these, and I was telling you before we got on, play with it yourself. Have fun with it. I think something that you create on your own is going to be more powerful than anything you can buy, for a lot of reasons, and it's promoting who we really are, and we're creators at the end of the day, and the
Yeah.
beginning of the day, and the middle.
That's right. That's right. We forget that. And that's something I'm talking about a lot lately. I'm teaching them about their powers to get healed and start utilizing them. I'm going to talk about cloud busting and what I've been doing for years and how I found out I had that power. And it's something that it's time to really have these real conversations. And I want to be authentic, and I've held some things back, but I've been recently starting to share, and you all are receiving it. So it's time. It's go time.
It is. It's like crossing the chasm, right? It's the unknown. We know it works, but no one wants to talk about it or promote it. But again, I want to remind you folks, none of this is new. This is returning to a natural way of life.
That's right.
Folks, I promote, I mean, get out to these board meetings, get good at going to them, whether it's a water board meeting, a town board meeting, because I
City
made a
council
video.
meeting, whatever. Just let them know that you are. It's interesting because I'll go to these meetings and there'll be 3 people there. I don't care. It's so important that we're just present, that we just show up, and because there's accountability when we show up. You guys, they don't want that accountability, but when we show up, there is.
There is, and you're giving others that
Yeah.
are watching permission to go ahead and do the same. And if you're here, you're it. You're the leaders. I made a video of this the other day. If you are attuned with this message, any of these messages, you're the
I want to
future
play
leader.
that
And
video before you leave because that is
you,
so good. His message is so powerful, and it's true. If you guys are here, you're it, and it's time. And we need to actively start serving humanity on a daily basis the way Nick is. And so find whatever it is that you are drawn to. That's usually what you're meant to do. So pay attention to that. And remember, I share about I'm working on my intuition, right? I've lost that intuition and like our natural instincts like animals have. So every day I'm trying to pay attention to that. Take some just quiet time out and go out into nature and learn about yourself. And that way you'll be directed to whatever it is.
here's a little bit of a secret, and this is folks seemingly on the other side of the aisle, the ones that are in our municipalities, in our courts, in our schools, right? All of that stuff. I'm here to tell you right now, most of them are excited for you to get it. They're excited for you to come and tear down the walls, proverbially. Okay? They are excited to see that. You don't realize, a lot of people don't realize the karmic cycles that a lot of these folks are under. It's familial, and they're bred into these families, and so just like we need redemption, so do they. Okay, and they're waiting for you to. I promise. Even if you think you're an enemy of theirs, your presence there makes all the difference. They're waiting for you. Okay, promise.
Hey everybody, listen to this message. It's certainly for you. Came across this or scrolled through it. You're it. You're the future, right? Future teacher, future leader, future coach, future community leader, future law enforcement, right? Community leader, future coach, future community leader, future law enforcement, right? Common law. Back to basics. But again, if you're listening to this message, you're it. You trained your whole life for this. Let's make it happen. See you out there.
I love that part. You trained your whole life. I remember as a child having an inner knowing that I had to do something. I knew that. Even in my early 20s, I was sent a message. It was like my early downloads that I didn't know where it was coming from. And I was told that I needed to go find children. And we know there's an inner knowing, you guys. We just have to get back to listening. We've been clouded with fluoride and the American diet. We need to cleanse our body and our soul and our minds so we can hear. Yeah.
There was an awesome comment that came in. I just want to
Okay.
highlight. No man is our enemy. No man is our friend. Every man is our teacher.
That's right.
Bingo.
That's right. That is so good.
On that note, I'm going to bid y'all a farewell for now, and I promise I'll make more of a return. We'll get busy again here in the spring, but it's been an amazing last year. It's been an amazing start to the year. Don't ask for things to slow down, folks. Get on top of the wave and ride it, because it's not going to slow down. And you are in the driver's seat in terms of how you want to carve the wave. Okay. And don't let anybody else carve your wave. You should do it. And that's all about having the mental power, and staying grounded, all the things that, you constantly hear about, but it's more important than ever because you are co-creating, you're actively creating the future that you're going to live in.
That's right.
As we speak. So thanks for having me on.
That's right.
Thanks everybody. Hope you all have a great evening.
All right. We'll look forward to it again. Good night.
See ya. Thank you very much.